back. Welcome back to War Notes. Today is Wednesday, November 26, 2025. It is 6:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and my name is Pavi LG. I am your host here. Today we are diving into a developing international standoff that could reshape power dynamics in the Caribbean. I have baby Victor here in the background as co-host indeed. And with Russia stepping up its support for Venezuela as US forces tighten the noose, I'm going to walk you through what's happening, what Russia and Venezuela are doing, and why it matters, and what you should watch for next. Please stay tuned in, and we will be back to continue our broadcast and all of the things that matter to you in less than 30 seconds. Thank you all for tuning in. I thank you all for hanging out. If you are not yet subscribed, please take the time to do so. It is free to do. That's how we support each other here on YouTube. Now, Russia says right now it is maintaining, quote, constant working contacts, end quote, with Venezuela amid rising tensions in the Caribbean. In recent weeks, there have been signals from Moscow that it may supply Venezuela with advanced weapons, including possibilities such as missile systems to help Caracas deter what it sees as an increasing U.S. military threat. This comes as Venezuela has put its forces on high alert in response to a deployment of a U.S. aircraft carrier strike group to the Caribbean. Caracas mobilized its land, air, naval, and missile units for what it calls, quote, maximum operational readiness, end quote. The show of force isn't just defensive. Venezuelan forces recently held major military exercises on a Caribbean island involving Russian made jets, fighters that reportedly carry anti ship missiles, among other assets. Now, on Russia's side, high level diplomats and foreign ministry spokespeople have publicly denounced what they call, quote, excessive U.S. military force, end quote, in the Caribbean, and reiterated Moscow's support for Venezuela's sovereignty and legitimate leadership. Now, according to recent reporting, a Russian transport plane landed in the Venezuelan capital carrying cargo, part of what some analysts interpret as Russia preparing to deliver supplies or support. Now, why does this matter to you? Why does this matter to us? Why does it matter to everybody globally? And what are its implications? Well, first, this is potentially one of the biggest showdowns in the Caribbean in recent times. If Russia begins supplying advanced weaponry to Venezuela, it changes the balance of power in the region. For U.S. interests and its allies, this raises the stakes significantly. Now, second, for regular people and listeners, this could impact global oil markets, migration flows, regional security, and political alignments. Venezuela has historically been a major oil producer, and alliances with Russia may insult it from, let's say, Western pressure, right? Possibly affecting global energy supply and prices. Third, it underscores how global conflicts, like those between Russia and the West in other regions, are now rippling totally into Latin America and the Caribbean. Now, the U.S. long dominate in the, call it, hemispheric sphere, and it might find itself challenged, really, ultimately, with wider consequences for geopolitics, trade, diplomacy, and local populations. Now, finally, given increased militarization and tension, there's a real risk of miscalculation. A confrontation in the Caribbean could draw in multiple parties, potentially destabilizing neighboring countries, affecting trade routes, and sparking refugee flows, indeed. Now, what I would say to you all, before we end tonight's broadcast, keep an eye on official confirmation or denial from Russia about any weapons transfers to Venezuela. especially air defense systems, missiles, and advanced jets. There's a lot of different resources that you can use to double check the information I'm giving you here and do comparison, so you all can come to your own conclusions and facts. Number 2, I would say, is movements of naval or air assets in the Caribbean, U.S. deployments, Venezuelan fleet movements, or presence of Russian ships and planes we should keep an eye out on for. Public statements from the governments involved in this whole charade, Russia, Venezuela, U.S., especially warnings and accusations or diplomatic moves, UN appeals, sanctions, and alliances we should all keep an eye on. Another thing I would suggest is oil production. Keep your eye on that. Make sure that you're looking at different sources and stuff to get your information. Sanctions, so oil production and prices, keep an eye out for. Sanctions on Venezuela and Russia, any changes in trade or energy flows that affect global markets. We will keep an eye on those things too as well and keep you all up to date best as possible. As far as human impact is concerned, potential increases in migration are going to occur, which they're already occurring, right? And that usually happens if something is not happening good in one country. There's a lot of immigration flow because folks are not going to sit around and be hungry. Okay, a lot of refugee flows, humanitarian instability in Venezuela or any type of neighboring countries. If they're having any issues like this, you all want to keep note and take note of it. Do your comparison, watch your facts, listen, keep your eyes peeled if things escalate. That's where things stand for right now, folks. It's tense, potentially explosive standoff in the Caribbean, right? With Russia backing Venezuela, Venezuela preparing for defense, and the U.S. closely watching. I, myself, will keep tracking developments and try to keep you all updated as best as possible to the best of my ability and bring them to you as they unfold. Now, I ask you all always at the end of each episode, stay sharp and stay informed, which is very important. These things that are unfolding have a lot of global consequences, and we must be aware. I thank you all for tuning in to another episode of War Notes. I am Pavi G, your host, and I thank you all so much. And I will catch you all on the next update. Again, if you haven't subscribed, press the button. It's free to do. Support a sister, okay? That's what we're here to do, support each other. So it will be a blessing that you all subscribe. Maybe you might not like one episode, but you may like the next. But if you're not subscribed, you won't know when a sister's on here again. And all my episodes are live unless I'm loading up certain shorts and things of those sorts. It's everyday history with me. So check out other videos that you all may be interested in. And also check out my books online too as well. All you have to do is Google my name, Paviel Gallegos. Or you can go to pavielgallegos.com, or you can look up one of my popular books, Trump's Revenge on MAGA and the People. So if you all have a copy of my book or have ordered one, let me know. If not, make sure you all do so. I would appreciate it. Thank you all very much. Have a very good evening. Thank you.